CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Beautiful day here in South Florida. Temperature 87 degrees, a 20% chance of rain. Obviously, with the field conditions we just talked about, they're hoping that rain stays away. Todd Bowles, former interim head coach of the Dolphins back in 2011, going against Adam Gase, now in his third season on the Miami sideline, a 20-20 record. Miami won the toss, and they have elected to receive. You don't see that all the time, so Jason Myers will kick it away, and Sonoris Perry is back deep along with Kalen Ballage. These two teams met week 2 up in New Jersey, and the Dolphins pulled out a 20-12 victory. They come in each having lost 2 straight games. With shadows covering half the field, we're underway at Hard Rock Stadium, and it's a touchback for Jason Myers. So out comes Brock Osweiler, making his 4th consecutive start for the injured Ryan Tannehill, who's still sidelined with a shoulder injury. Osweiler, as Adam Gase told us, has done a good job in the 3 previous starts. Even though it's a 1-2 record, it's been more about the defensive issues for the Dolphins. Now, opening drives have been a massive issue for Miami. 18 consecutive games without a touchdown on their opening drive. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. Jets are number 2 with 16 straight games. On first down, Osweiler looking to throw. Has time and fires for Amendola, wide open. Amendola tackled at midfield, found an opening in the Jets defense and picks up 26.
We talked about in our Home Depot stuff, Jamal Adams being up near the line of scrimmage, creeping up in the line of scrimmage, and he's going to blitz, and he gets picked up. And once you get that picked up, you've got man-to-man coverage. Great job by Osweiler finding Amendola.
First down and 10. It's Frank Gore right up the middle, and Gore to the 45-yard line. Pick up of 5 on the play for the 35-year-old Frank Gore. Buster Skrine had the tackle. Adam Gase calls the plays for this Miami offense, and they have run the 4th most no-huddle plays this year, and that's what you're seeing here on this opening drive. Kenny Stills is active. He did not play last Thursday because of a groin injury. On 2nd and 5, Osweiler throws, and it is broken up. Buster Skrine got a hand on that one. Pass was intended for Danny Amendola. Third down and 5 coming up. The Jets this year, the 4th best third down defense in the NFL, holding opponents to just a 33% conversion rate.
Marcus May, their outstanding free safety, called it the money down. Want to get off the field. Everybody talks about that, but I love the fact that money down.
Jermaine Johnson not active today, still out with a quad injury. Osweiler in trouble. Osweiler is whistled down. Avery Williamson, his 3rd sack of the season. Jets had 4 sacks week 2 against Miami, and they get an early one, and once again the Dolphins fail to score a touchdown on their opening drive.
Normally you think in the middle you're going to get matched up against a guard or somebody like that. The running back tries to take Avery Williamson just with an elbow. You've got to square up that body to give your quarterback time to be able to look down the field.
Andre Roberts was a question mark today for the Jets. His back stiffened up during the week, but he is suited up today and back deep to receive the punt from Matt Hawk. And a fair catch called at the 15-yard line. 13:01 to go opening quarter. We'll see Sam Darnold and the Jets when we come back. Early first quarter, no score between the Jets and Dolphins. 21-year-old Sam Darnold making his 9th start of the year. 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the season for Darnold. Those 10 INTs tied for the most in the NFL. But he continues to show poise, and as he told us last night, he's proud of his consistency this year. Did not turn the football over last week in the loss in Chicago. He'll start out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. Looking left the whole time, now comes back over the middle and completes it to Eric Tomlinson. And he's tackled at the 20-yard line by T.J. McDonald. Tomlinson only played 6 snaps last week, but he has his 7th catch of the year. There's Jeremy Bates, first-year offensive coordinator. Told us that one of the keys today was to try to get the play-action game going. That's something that Darnold and this offense have struggled doing. Darnold, the lowest quarterback rating on play action this year, just a 54% completion percentage on play action. Play fake there. Comes back the other way to Curse, and he's shoved out of bounds right near the chains by Xavier Howard. And he's going to be just short.
You talked about Darnold and the low percentage of play action because you have to turn your back to play action, then you have to kind of get yourself reconfigured and figure out where the defense is, and that one was an easy one because it's a bootleg. You have that guy in the flat. That's your first read. You go from short to deep. Darnold taking the short pass, getting the positive gain.
So it's 3rd and 1 for the Jets. This year on 3rd and 4th and 1, when Darnold runs it, he's converted it 4 of his 4 attempts. Will they run it with Darnold here? Crowell, the running back. They hand it off to Crowell. He slips a little bit, and he's tackled for a loss. T.J. McDonald, one of the first to get back there for the Dolphins, and they hold on 3rd and 1.
You're trying to pull the guard from the far side. You're bringing him around, and he's going to be the lead blocker, but you don't get out in front, and it's a nice job by T.J. McDonald. He took 2 guys, split them, and then got to the ball carrier.
Jets went 3 and out on 6 of their first 8 possessions last week in Chicago, and they start this game with a 3 and out. Out comes Lachlan Edwards to punt it away to Jakeem Grant. Very dangerous Jakeem Grant. 2nd in the NFL, averaging better than 17 yards per punt return. Calls for a fair catch here at the 34-yard line. 10:52 to go in the first quarter. No score in Miami.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Kay Jewelers. For all the moments, for love, forever. Sonic. This is how you Sonic. And by the Honda family of SUVs.
A lot of talk about today's field conditions. How about the 82 AFC Championship game? Miami over the Jets 14-0 in the Mud Bowl. Don Shula, the head coach in that game and in the house today.
And that defense were the famous killer bees.
1st and 10 for Miami, their 2nd drive of the quarter. And it's a handoff to Frank Gore. Gore met at the line of scrimmage. Gore came into the day needing 46 yards from scrimmage to pass Barry Sanders for 6th in NFL history.
Now, when we talked to Adam Gase, he said Gore keeps us on track. And sometimes when he doesn't gain much on 1st down, I don't want to go away from him on 2nd down because he can get us some chunk yardage even on 2nd down.
Osweiler looking to throw. Deep shot down the middle of the field. Wide open Amendola, and he overthrew him. And that exact same thing happened last Thursday night in Houston when Osweiler overthrew Devontae Parker. This time he misses Amendola.
And Daryl Roberts, number 27, kind of stops his feet. He's expecting Amendola, who runs a lot of short routes, to make a break at about 10 yards. Amendola goes right by him. And it's a big, big miss for Brock Osweiler.
So now it's 3rd down and 9 with Kenyon Drake into the ball game next to Osweiler. Osweiler to Devontae Parker. Gets away from 1 tackle, but he's hit short of the sticks. Buster Screen makes a tackle, a gain of 8, and it's 4th and 1. And Adam Gase is now debating.
Yeah, he's pulling the special teams unit back.
Yeah, he's sending out a jumbo package. He's going to go for it.
You know,
he went for it on his opening drive against the Texans last Thursday night. Did not get it. Now on his second drive, he's going again.
Heavy with tight ends to the right, but no fullback for the Dolphins.
Gore is the running back. Hand off to Gore up the middle. And with forward progress, it looks like he may have just gotten that. We'll wait for the official spot. And now the signal of first down for Miami.
Frank Gore, who's been around for 14 years, loves to talk about being a throwback, to the toughness, to being physical. That was just a run where you're just going to get the first down, and you look at his scrimmage yards, 39 more yards needed to become the 6th most in NFL history.
So Gase continues to be aggressive. It pays off here, and the drive continues with 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. Right back to Gore. Gore, nice cutback into Jets territory. Tackled at the 48-yard line again by Buster Skrine.
You know, you would think that at age 35, he might have lost a step. I don't know where it went, but it seems like he still has it on game day. That run was supposed to start to the outside. He cuts back in. And Frank Gore, ever since he came into the league, 3rd-round pick, had the knee injuries early in his career, you looked at him and said, I don't know. But you keep looking at him, and he's proved all the doubters wrong time and time again.
Dolphins still going no huddle. It's 2nd and 4. Osweiler swings it to Drake out of the backfield. Drake with a stiff arm on Williamson and out of bounds. And that's marked right near the sticks.
You don't really appreciate how tough of a catch that was for Drake. He had to pirouette, turn all the way around. If Osweiler can get him that ball on his front hip instead of the back hip, it makes it an easy catch and run transition. That right there, that's ballet and football combined at the same time.
They're saying that Drake went out of bounds just short of the first down marker. So
I'd say it might be Frank Gore time again.
Yeah, 3rd and inches.
Who's lined up 7 yards away from where the first down marker is.
Here's Gore. Hitting the backfield and taken down. Leonard Williams crashing through the line. And a loss of 2 on the play. It's another 4th down. What does Adam Gase do this time?
Well, one of the things that Adam Gase talked to us about is Leonard Williams can wreck the game for you. He beats the center across his face. He reads the run before the front center's able to get out and make the block. And you can see, yeah, it's time to pound your chest when you make a stop against Frank Gore in the backfield.
And this time Gase sends out his punter, Matt Hawk, on 4th and 3. Roberts, the deep man for the Jets. The lefty punter trying to pin New York deep. A fair catch at the 11 from Roberts. 6:57 to go. First quarter. Still no score. You're watching the NFL on CBS. No score. First quarter. Jets and Dolphins. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by Goodyear. Dolphins spent their mini bye after their Thursday night game and that loss to the Texans, trying to figure out what's been going wrong on defense and what they can do differently. And one of the things you're seeing already today is that Minkah Fitzpatrick is playing more at cornerback on the boundary. You've seen him used as a nickel corner at safety, but there's the defensive coordinator, Matt Burke. He wants Fitzpatrick on the field a lot today, and he's now on the boundary covering Robbie Anderson. Bobby McCain, who's been the starter on the outside, will rotate in.
Action. Roll away, right side.
It's a handoff to Crowell, and Crowell to the 15, tackled by Andre Branch after a gain of 3. Matt Burke also told us that a big issue with this Dolphins defense, the explosive plays. That's one thing that they really focused on this week. They've got to cut those down. He told us there were more mental errors than physical errors. And it was back to basics this week, almost a training camp feel with a number of drills. They worked on technique. It's a defense that has just been getting crushed over the last 3 games. They've allowed at least 420 yards in all 3. A flip to Anderson, trying to get him in space. Can he get around Wick? He does, but not much there on that play. We'll have our first NFL Today update with JB and Boomer in New York.
Boy, every time Mahomes throws a ball, it's a record.
JB, it is a quarterback's best friend. It's a screen pass that's going to turn into a 50-yard TD run by Kareem Hunt. This is going to be the 27th touchdown pass on the air for the young Patrick Mahomes. They take a 7-0 lead over the Browns.
Track team known as Kansas City. Back to Andrew and James.
And they have so much speed on offense, guys. A 7-1 record for the Chiefs. Eli McGuire, who just came off IR this week, is in at running back on 3rd and 6. Play clock at 1. They just get it off. Hand off to McGuire. Now they're blowing it dead.
I think they might have had timeout because they're moving around and didn't look coordinated at all.
First team timeout. Jets.
So right as the play clock was winding down, the Jets call their first timeout of the half. Tonight on CBS, some friends come into our life the exact moment we need them most. Watch an all-new God Friended Me tonight after 60 Minutes, only CBS. So Darnold goes to the sideline, and now we'll come back in with the play on 3rd and 6.
Darnold's looking at that risk sheet. For a rookie quarterback, you're still trying to learn your offense. There's a lot of head nodding that goes on in the meeting. Yeah, coach, I got it. And then occasionally you look at those young players and it's like, they don't really have it. But for Darnold, they're trying to make sure that they call plays that he's very comfortable with. And you mentioned Eli McGuire, the running back in the backfield. Stump Mitchell, his running back coach, said he's really, really smart in protecting the quarterback in pass protection.
3rd down and 6. Darnold out of the shotgun. Pressure coming. Darnold in trouble. He gets rid of it to Herndon, but he is tackled at the 19-yard line by Kiko Alonso. And for the 2nd straight series, the Jets go 3 and out.
And that's the type of pressure that the Miami Dolphins, yes, they want sacks, but you want to be able to come with just 4 defenders, and that means you're going to have an extra person in pass coverage to be able to thwart the quarterback. And Darnold, he's taking some lumps. That uniform's going to be a little dirty because that field is muddy.
6 plays for the Jets, 16 yards so far in the first quarter. And now Edwards back out to punt with Grant awaiting the kick at his own 35. That was a good boot by Edwards, chasing Grant all the way back to his 21. Gets by Cannon. Now Grant has some room to run at the 35. And then hit down at the 39-yard line. A 60-yard boot by Edwards, but a return of 19 for Jakeem Grant. 4:47 to go first quarter. Still no score in Miami.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
Very similar to the scoreboard at Fenway Park. We do it by hand here on CBS. Jets in Miami, scoreless in the first quarter. With James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan, our entire crew. We thank you for watching Week 9 of the NFL on CBS. Punt start for Miami. Drive number 3 for Brock Osweiler. And he hands off to Gore. And Gore maybe gets a yard. Brock Osweiler, now in his 7th season out of Arizona State, a very confident individual. As he said, if you're not confident in the NFL, you have no chance of succeeding. And made some comments earlier this week that turned a few heads down here when he said, you know, my mindset is I don't want to ever give this job back to Ryan Tannehill. It's nothing personal. That's just the way you have to approach it. Tannehill missing his 4th consecutive game with a shoulder injury. Osweiler, quick pass to Parker. Parker takes a block, and Parker, with a late flag coming in, was tackled at midfield. First penalty flag today. The referee is Walt Coleman.
Amendola, who's out there working with him, might have blocked a little bit downfield for the screen pass.
Pass interference, number 80, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
You want to run at the defender. What you don't want to do, you don't want to end up running through him. Amendola is going to run out and he's going to try and contact this guy, but he wants to make it look like it's not going to be obvious, and that's obvious.
A rare time you don't hear James Lofton sticking up for a wide receiver. This is
well, you can see his coach Sean Jefferson is going, you're supposed to just run out there and kind of shadow him. You're not supposed to block him.
That makes it 2nd down and 18. Backs Miami up to its own 31. It's Gore inside, and Gore sneaks through to the 36 for a gain of 5, and now 3rd down for Miami.
That is a good finish to a run that looked like it was going to be clogged up at the line of scrimmage. No one runs with lower body lean than Frank Gore. He's not tall to start with, but he has great body lean, so you're not going to knock him back very often. He's always going to end up falling forward for that extra yard or two.
Let's see what Miami dials up here on 3rd and 13.
Hey, you're good, you're good. Hey, Miller.
Adams drops back in the Jets secondary. Osweiler feeling the heat. Out of the pocket. Chased by Copeland and just throws it away. Great pursuit by Brandon Copeland, who's really been a nice addition for this Jets defense. 4th down and 13, and once again, it's Matt Hawk coming out to punt.
Sometimes you can escape pressure that comes from the outside, but when it comes from the inside, it's right in your lap, and it forces you out of the pocket. And Brock Osweiler at 6'7", he's not going to fool anybody with his Russell Wilson impersonation. So, tough situation for Brock. Just get the ball thrown out of bounds. Don't take the sack.
Roberts awaiting the punt at his own 16-yard line. High spiraling kick by Hawk, and a fair catch for Roberts at his own 15. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. 2:59 to go, first quarter. No score, Jets and Dolphins. New York trying to find a spark in this run game. It's really been struggling of late. They were held to just 57 yards rushing last week. After the game, Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator, said Chicago played harder than us, and Todd Bowles challenged the offensive line this week to try to find a spark in the running game. 3 carries for 3 yards so far today. Darnold has time, throwing, and a wide open Herndon. Herndon at the 40 and spun down at the 43-yard line. This connection, rookie to rookie, Darnold to Herndon, continues to impress. A gain of 28.
We talked about in the keys that you want to be able to run to set up the play-action passing game for Darnold. And even if you're not successful running the ball, you saw the linebackers hugged up near the line of scrimmage. They were determined to stop the run. Isaiah Correll, remember, against Detroit, 219 yards rushing, the most in the NFL this year. So they've watched a lot of that film, and they feel like we've got to stop the run. And the minute that you overplay that, you're going to open up the play-action passing game.
Darnold has started 4 for 4. Hands off to Crowell, and Crowell across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Going back to Herndon, he is a 4th-round pick out of Miami. He played his collegiate games in this stadium for the Hurricanes, and Herndon and Darnold were roommates in training camp. And we asked Sam Darnold yesterday, we said, you know, how much does that play into this little spark? And he said, no doubt, spending so much time with Herndon over the summer was a big help, but I don't want to take away anything that he has done. He is a very talented player, and the Jets are very confident about their 4th-round pick, Chris Herndon. Here's Crowell following the block of Tomlinson, and Crowell finds a seam for a Jets first down.
Just a quick side note on Herndon. If you're going to be a rookie pass catcher and they ask you who you want to room with,
that's a great assignment.
Yeah, you don't say, how about that defensive tackle from Slippery Rock?
Yeah.
No, I want to room with the quarterback. That's who I want to be in the room with. So when he looks at me every night before he goes to bed, he's thinking about, who am I going to throw the ball? Oh, that guy right there.
Crowell got 9 on that last run. His longest run in Chicago last week was only 7 yards. So we approach 1 minute to go, first quarter. First down and 10. It's a play fake. And Darnold intercepted, threw it right in the arms of Kiko Alonso. And Alonso out of bounds.
Oh, yeah.
A late hit, a flag comes in. Brandon Shell with the extra hit on the sideline. And that's the 11th interception of the year for Sam Darnold.
A deep hook route that Darnold is looking at the whole time. When he drops back, we're going to take a look at it after. They're going to talk about the penalty, but when we take a look at the replay, we're going to see the play develop, and we're going to see the Kiko Alonso follow the eyes of the quarterback. Watch him when he drops back. He's going to follow the eyes of the quarterback. He's looking, and he just reads the quarterback's eyes.
Personal foul after the interception, number 72 of the passing team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
a good drive that should have resulted. That last play should have been a check down. You don't have to throw down the field. You've probably got a running back slipping out in the flat who you can throw the ball to. But he wanted that chunk yardage. He wanted that big play.
And Alonzo having a few words with Leonard Williams as he came out onto the field. You know, I'd say about a handful of these Darnold interceptions this year. You don't put them all on the quarterback, but James, that one
Yes.
you got to put on Sam.
And just being a little greedy. You had a good drive going, a play action pass early, a good run by Corral.
So on first down, it's Frank Gore. Look at him shifty at the age of 35, all the way out to the 35-yard line before Leonard Williams finally makes the tackle after an 8-yard run.
You know, we have this age number in our head about running backs. When they get to 30, there's a decline. So think about it. For the last 5 years that Frank Gore's been playing, people walked up to him, how many more years do you think you're going to play? How many more? And in Frank Gore's mind, he's thinking, I train with young guys, I outwork them, and we're seeing the results here on the field today.
Drake comes in. It's actually Kalen Ballage at running back for 2nd and 2. He's their 3rd running back. And a play fake to Ballage. Osweiler now checks it down to Ballage out of the backfield. He's got the first down and taken down by Darren Lee, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. Dolphins driving after the interception by Darnold. No score after 1. Well, after 3 weeks, so look at the AFC standings. Miami a 3-0 start, their first 2-game lead in the division since 2001. But then after week 6, tied atop the standings with the Patriots at 4-2. And now Miami, losers of 4 of their last 5, have fallen 2 games behind New England in the AFC East.
But the players from the Dolphins are very aware that this is kind of, you know, in golf you have moving day. November is kind of that entire month where you can make a move and move up and get ready to go.
Wildcat, Kalen Ballage in. Osweiler, top of your screen. Ballage keeps it right up the middle with some room and inside the 15-yard line. Miami likes to use Ballage in that Wildcat formation, and now a flag comes in.
Holding, number 62, offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's on the left guard, Ted Larson, his first penalty of the year.
And right at the point of attack, you saw the big gaping hole. Ballage, no hesitation in running through it. And there's Larson right there. And it's kind of like the twist and the turn at the end. But I really believe that if he just kept moving his feet, and that's what his offensive line coach will tell him, that you had the block made and you had it established. Because Ballage, such a big back, 230 pounds, he had such force. You're not going to take him down with a one-hand tackle from the defensive line.
That negates a 13-yard run. Now Kenyon Drake in at running back. And he takes the handoff, and Drake tackled by Avery Williamson in his first year with the Jets, their leading tackler. First 4 years with the Titans for Avery Williamson.
You have 1st and 10 plays, and in that you have 2nd and 7 plays. They're kind of mixed together. You have another box on those big play sheets that are laminated for the offensive play callers, 1st and 20, where you're trying to get a little more than what they just got with the 2-yard gain there, because you need some chunk yardage to pick up 20 yards in 3 plays.
3 receivers to the top of your screen, 1 lone tight end at the bottom. Osweiler, quick pass. It's caught by Amendola, but he is tripped up. Buster screen on the stop. We go back to New York. An NFL Today update with JB and Boomer.
Connor continues to capitalize.
Steelers go 8 plays, 61 yards, a 7-yard TD pass from Ben Roethlisberger. Pittsburgh Steelers take a lead over the Baltimore Ravens 7-3.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
Andrew, in this play call, you've got to really be thinking about how can I get us in an easier field goal range also if you're Brock Osweiler.
3rd down and 13. They hand it off. Drake up the middle. And Drake hit at the 25. That's exactly, it appears, what Adam Gase was thinking.
And you hear the boos from that. Normally, if you're the play caller, you make that play call on the road because you don't get booed on the road. At home, they want you to be a little more aggressive than what they were on that last 3rd down.
So he gets 5 extra yards on the 3rd down run for Jason Sanders, the rookie kicker out of New Mexico. He was a 7th-round draft pick this year and has been 9 of 10 on field goals this season.
So you have a turnover, which you want to make sure that you turn into points. So really critical just for the morale of the team and the defense convert this field goal attempt.
A 43-yard attempt for the rookie Sanders, and this one is good. We've got some points with 12:39 to go in the first half. Miami, off the turnover by Darnold, takes a 3-0 lead on the Dolphins. Dolphins have taken a 3-0 lead on the Jets. 12:39 to go in the opening half. 43-yard field goal by Jason Sanders. And now Sanders will kick it away. His touchback percentage, 86%. That's second best in the NFL. And he's got another touchback as Roberts takes a knee. So out comes Sam Darnold, who's 4 of 5. The only miss was the interception. Jets have only run 10 plays. Miami 19 plays. And they have won the time of possession battle thus far. But we met with Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator for the Jets last night, and he said that Sam Darnold, sometimes he doesn't even know if he has a pulse. He's so
in a good way.
In a good way. He's so even-keeled. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and this is what they like about him. They think that after an interception, he can come right back out and make a play.
He's a laid-back kid from Southern California.
McGuire is the running back on 1st down and 10.
Action, action! Broadway, right side!
McGuire gets the handoff. McGuire across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Another NFL Today update with JB and Boomer.
A lot of choices there, Boomer.
JB, watch. Patrick Mahomes looks left, knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball. 11-yard touchdown pass to Travis Kelce. Chiefs now lead 14-3. That's Patrick Mahomes' 28th touchdown pass on the year.
Hey, Andrew, just like the choice that James Lofton was when he was wearing a uniform.
He was always the primary target in his mind, JB.
False start, number 67, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Brian Winters called for the false start. His second false start of the season. The other one was week 2 against Miami. Of course, the Jets had that massive issue last week with 7 pre-snap penalties, 5 false starts, the most in a game by any team this year. Todd Bowles said that was the worst part of the game. The loss against the Bears was the 7 pre-snap penalties, and they got one here to make it 2nd down and 9. Darnold, nowhere to go, in trouble, and he's going down. Cam Wake, the first to get there. He got a little help from Akeem Spence, and a loss of 10 on the play.
Veteran quarterbacks are really good at taking a pre-snap read, and you should realize that with these linebackers split out like that, that it's going to be zone coverage. They're not really covering anybody man-to-man. Everybody's just dropping back in their areas, and there's nowhere to go with the football. But really, for the Dolphins, it's about that pressure, that 4-man pressure, which frees up the back end to play zone coverage.
Just the 2nd sack of the season for Cam Wake. And it makes it 3rd down and 19 with the crowd making some noise. Jets are just going to hand it off to McGuire. And McGuire is able to give them a little bit of field position back, but not enough for the 1st down. And out comes Lachlan Edwards for the 3rd time this half.
So in the last 2 drives, a Darnold interception and then Darnold taking a sack. In addition to that, a penalty when they had the ball 2nd and 3, and then they force themselves back to 2nd and 8. Just, you cannot make those mental errors, the interception, which was a mental error, and then that false start, which was another mental error.
Jakeem Grant back deep for Miami. With 10:20 to go, 2nd quarter. Edwards moving Grant over to his left, fields it at the 16. Grant out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Miami with a 3-0 lead and their offense going back to work when we return to South Florida.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. Wendy's new Sauce'em Bacon Classic Cheeseburger. And by the Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
Beautiful day in South Florida. Nice day for a boat ride. Dolphins have a 3-0 lead on the Jets. 3 punts on their first 3 drives, and then the field goal off the Darnold interception. Miami will start this drive at their own 27-yard line. Osweiler steps up, throws on the move, incomplete. He threw it behind Devontae Parker.
The first part of that was such a great move when Brock Osweiler stepped up in the pocket. You're going to see the route, short crossing route. He's running against Jamal Adams. Jamal kind of looks back because they're playing zone coverage, and that ball's right behind him. But Osweiler steps up in the pocket. If you know, that's one of those ones that you're going to watch in film tomorrow. You go, I wish we'd had that.
He overthrew Amendola in the first quarter, and he misses that one to Parker. Second down and 10. Gore picks up 3 on the play to bring up third down. Adam Gase told us one of the issues that he struggles with as the offensive play caller is balancing Frank Gore and Kenyon Drake out there. They're both so competitive. They both want to be out there all the time. So the rotation of those two is something that's tricky for Gase and the Dolphins offense. And on third down, you see mostly Drake, as you do now.
And you got Drake and Gesicki on the same side. These 2 players, that's a nice combination for maybe Osweiler to work with.
Osweiler feeling the heat, steps up, trying to keep it himself, and he dives at the end. And with that spot, he's going to be very close, but maybe, Walt Coleman is saying first down. That's a generous spot for Brock Osweiler and the Dolphins.
Boy, if I am Todd Bowles on the other side of the field, I'm not real happy with that spot, and I'm talking to my coaches upstairs to see what they saw. But Brock takes advantage of that 6'7" frame and really tries to stretch out right at the end. And you're looking at it again there. I guess he does just lunge forward for that.
Bowles throws the flag. Yeah, he didn't like that look.
It's so hard on a spot to really get it moved back enough where you're going to get the call.
So Todd Bowles challenging the spot here with 8:39 to go in the second quarter.
The Jets are challenging the forward progress spot in relation to the first down.
You know what? When we watch it again there, watch his knee go down when we come back.
We'll be back with the verdict right after this. Todd Bowles just won the challenge. The call has been overturned. The knee was down at the 36-yard line right there. And Miami has sent out its punt team. So a successful challenge for Bowles. And now we'll have our 7th punt of the first half. And not yet.
Sometimes the officials aren't in position ready for the snap.
So Bowles this year is now 2 for 2 on his challenges.
But I like the response by Adam Gase.
And to reset the clock, 9:15 to go now, second quarter.
You punt this ball away. You don't encourage the Jets with a short field in case you don't pick up the 4th and 1 call that you get in on 4th down.
A wobbler, and Roberts comes all the way up to the 24-yard line to call for a fair catch. Well, this Dolphins defense, much maligned, and they've just been getting shredded as we highlighted in our open, but a different story so far today.
They've been able to make some plays behind the line of scrimmage. We talked about the big gashes. You get a turnover, which you convert into 3 points. So they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and I think that's part of the reason why Adam Gase decided to not go for it on 4th and short, punt the ball away, let his defense get on the field.
98, the return team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So a late penalty, it goes against the Jets, and they have had horrible field position today. That'll back them up further toward their own end zone, and Todd Bowles not happy. Having a chat with Darren Lee, who told us in our meeting last night that this is a must-win game for the Jets. Morris Claiborne echoed those thoughts earlier in the week. And you see the Jets have had the ball 4 times, 3 3-and-outs, and an interception. And their average drive has started at their own 17-yard line. This one at the 14, first down and 10. Darnold and Crowell slipped to the ground. They were trying to set up the screen. Crowell slipped. It's incomplete. Back to New York. NFL Today update with JB and Boomer.
The initials are AB.
That's right, 12 plays, 75 yards. This is a 6-yard TD pass to Antonio Brown. 6 straight games now with a receiving TD for the Pittsburgh Steelers receiver. Steelers extend their lead 14-3 over the Ravens.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
All right, guys, that's a big game for John Harbaugh and the Ravens as they've struggled over the last month, trying to avoid falling to 4 and 5. Here in Miami, second down and 10 for the Jets. A pitch to Crowell. Crowell gets a couple. It'll be third down and long. Minkah Fitzpatrick makes the tackle for Miami.
And they talked about Minkah when they moved him out there. Part of the reason was a big corner, physical with receivers at the line of scrimmage, and a good tackler. For Jeremy Bates, trying to call plays now is really tough because you've gone through your starting list and nothing's really worked, and you haven't been able to find a hole that you saw in the Dolphins on film. It hasn't produced itself here on the field yet. And Sam Darnold, you want him to get the ball out of his hands quickly right now.
Darnold holding on to it, gets rid of it to Robbie Anderson, and Anderson cannot get away from Bobby McCain. Great tackle that may have saved a first down. Cameron Wake was applying the pressure on Darnold, and once again, the Jets go 3 and out.
And that pressure directly in the face makes Darnold come to the underneath route. You see Robbie Anderson kind of waving his arm. It's not, Robbie Anderson wasn't really on the gas there. If you are 4-3, when you run deep, you're supposed to run 4-3. And when you run across the field on those short crossing routes, you got to burn it to put stress on the defense.
Jets with their 4th punt today. They've only managed 2 first downs. Short kick. Grant fair catch at his own 40 with 7:14 to go in the second quarter. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Pizza Hut. Adam Gase and the Dolphins have a 3-0 lead on the Jets. Now, in Adam Gase's career, this is only the 14th time in 41 games the Dolphins have scored first in the ballgame. When they do, they're 11-2 under Adam Gase when scoring first. Drake, the running back, on 1st and 10. It's a play fake by Osweiler. Pressure is coming. Osweiler gets rid of it to Drake. Drake hit by Roberts and trying to turn those legs. They spot him down at the 47-yard line. 7-yard pickup for Kenyon Drake in his 3rd year out of Alabama.
That is a big pickup on first down. He went from what would look like being sacked in the pocket, moving around just enough, finding Drake as his check down. Now 2nd and 3.
Again, Dolphins operating out of the no huddle. To Drake. And he gets a yard. It'll be 3rd and short. Jamal Adams coming up to make that tackle.
Amendola saw Jamal Adams up on the line of scrimmage. He came in motion. Brock Osweiler didn't let him get close enough where he could get in front of Jamal Adams and become a blocker.
3rd downs have not been pretty for the offense so far today. A combined 0 for 10 on 3rd downs. Miami's 0 for 6 before this 3rd down in 1 play. And they're going to put Osweiler in the shotgun. Throwing on 3rd and 1. Pressure coming. Osweiler hit. Gets rid of it to Amendola for a first down. It was a Tauchu who leveled Osweiler, but the completion goes for 6, and that's the first 3rd down conversion today by either team.
Toughness in the pocket. It's not there when he gets ready to throw on his initial drop. He has to hold the ball for Amendola to kind of run a little whip route where he's coming inside, back again to the outside. Takes a big shot, but that's a big completion on third down.
Back to the Wildcat. Osweiler lined up as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. Direct snap to Balaj. He'll keep it himself and taken down. Guess who? Jamal Adams, continuing to make plays in his second year out of LSU.
If Jamal Adams is not lined up 10 yards off the line of scrimmage and he's near that box, you've got to find a way to deal with him because he can wreck whatever play you're about to try and attempt to run.
His third tackle today. He's played 3 games in his career against the Dolphins, has a sack in all 3. Inside, 5 minutes to go. Osweiler throwing right and completes it to Drake. Thrown out of bounds by Avery Williamson, but a gain of 9.
Rare running back skills when you can line up in the slot and run a route as good as wide receivers. It's that little hesitation off the line of scrimmage, sticks his foot in the ground, and really breaks nice and flat so Osweiler can lead him on that short out.
It sets up third down and 3.
Apple, I'm standing gun. Mike 58. Mike 58.
Play clock at 5. Osweiler throws, broken up. Copeland got a hand on that one. And the Jets defense with another third down stop.
You got to look at it. Punting the ball, I don't really think is a big option right here. Go for it on fourth down. You're a little too far for a long field goal attempt. Osweiler, you've got to remember that on a zone blitz, there are going to be extra defenders in the secondary ready to disrupt those short crossing routes.
They are going to go for it again on fourth down. They did so in the first quarter. They got it. They are 3 for 5 on fourth downs this year. And Osweiler has to call a timeout. 4:04 to go, second quarter, and Osweiler will talk things over with Adam Gase. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. All the latest NFL scores and highlights all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And Jawan James, the starting right tackle for Miami, hobbles off the field with a trainer. So for this fourth down and 3 play, Miami is not going to have its starting right tackle.
Thank you. What you're looking for is you're looking for matchups. Kenyon Drake, we've seen him match up. Gesicki, big tall tight end, number 86. We haven't seen him use. Those 2 players, you take all the wide receivers who are on the outside, they're going to be matched up against the starting 3 corners. But inside, Gesicki and Drake, those are linebacker matchups.
Zach Sturrup at right tackle, fourth down and 3. Osweiler gets rid of it and completes it to Drake for a first down. Pressure was coming. Osweiler had to get rid of that quickly, and he does for a 7-yard gain to Miami. Now 2 for 2 on fourth downs.
When you line up right there, Drake at the top of the corner, he's looking like he's going to pass protect. But he comes out, there's a little bit of a rub route, a little bit of a wash. The defender has to run through all of that, and that's really the first read on that play.
Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. We approach 3.5 to go in the first. Osweiler in trouble, and he's sacked. Jordan Jenkins with the sack for the Jets, a loss of 9 on the play.
The interior pass rush, not the edge pass rush, but the interior pass rush. You push an offensive lineman back into the lap of the quarterback, you've done a pretty good job on your interior pass rush.
Jenkins now with 3.5 sacks on the year.
Miller.
It's the second sack of the game for the Jets defense. 2nd and 19. Gore up the middle. And Gore to the 34-yard line brings up third down. A gain of 6 for Frank Gore.
And that run was just like Adam Gase talked about, to kind of get us back on track. A positive downhill run. Gore picks up some yardage. And now you get you get a long third down situation, but once again, now you're trying to pick up at least half the yardage here to get yourself in a more manageable field goal range.
This drive approaching 5 minutes. Jets defense, just like last week in Chicago, has been on the field a lot today with these short offensive drives. 3rd and 13.
Always know where Jamal Adams is back there in the back of the end zone.
Osweiler delivers, caught by Grant, and Grant has a first down. The speedy Jakeem Grant races for 16 yards and a Dolphins first.
And if you're Avery Williamson, when Grant finally gets over to your area, you are concerned, because here's a guy that you don't match up against real well. Nobody matches up against him. He's a mighty might.
2-minute warning in Miami. Dolphins driving.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Applebee's new neighborhood pastas. Eatin' good in the neighborhood. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you.
Two minutes to go, first half. Miami a 3-0 lead, and they're driving on the Jets. On this drive, Brock Osweiler 5 of 6 for 45 yards, and this is the best either offense has looked in this game so far, a game that has featured 8 punts in the first half. First down and 10 from the 17-yard line. It's Gore. Gore runs into his own man and stopped after a gain of 2. Tyrell Basham on the tackle in his 3rd game with the Jets. Hey, you think about the Jets offense, and there's a big difference on this drive between a field goal and a touchdown.
Yes.
And that's on the defense once again, as Frank Gore inches closer to passing Barry Sanders for the most scrimmage yards, 6th most in NFL history.
Watch out for wherever he is on the field, Jamal Adams.
2nd and 8. Osweiler to Gore out of the backfield. And Gore gets away from one tackle, lowers his shoulder to get a couple extra yards. It's funny, Adams made the tackle on Gore. Gore made it a point to tell us in our meeting with him on Friday how much he loves Jamal Adams. He thinks he plays the game old school, rough and tough, and I really like him. And you saw the mutual respect there after Adams hit Gore.
And it's one of the few knockback tackles that Frank Gore experiences. Most of the time he's falling forward. Those extra yards, that time it's knocked back by Adams.
3rd and 2. Jets defense trying to hold Miami to a field goal. Pressure coming, pass is deflected and incomplete. It was Jamal Adams again coming on the blitz and getting a hand on that Osweiler pass. And the Jets defense does their job as Adam Gase sends out his kicker, Jason Sanders.
That was a lone wolf blitz, because when you look at the rest of the coverage, there's nobody to cover the tight end, nobody to cover the back. It's all Jamal Adams, and it's being instinctive, because what he has to do, he has to make sure he gets his hand on that ball. Because you can see Drake was open in the flat. So that's Jamal Adams dialing up his own number.
A 27-yard attempt for Sanders, who connected earlier from 43. And this one's right down the middle. And Miami takes a 6-0 lead. With 1:11 to go, Jets have 2 timeouts to work with. Don't forget, coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Our guys back in New York have the latest NFL scores and highlights on the Verizon Halftime Report. Let's see what the Jets do with 1:11 to go, 2 timeouts. For Jeremy Bates, we met with him last night, the Jets offensive coordinator. He told us it was a bit of a challenge this week because early in the week, he thought there was no chance that Enunwa and Robbie Anderson would play. He said Monday, I thought it was 0% that those two would play. As the week went on and they got a little bit better and healthier, he started to build a little more into the package for them this week. But James, you look at the game so far today, and Anderson only has 1 target, 1 catch for 1 yard, and Enunwa has not been targeted yet in the first half.
And the only practice that they attended was on Friday's practice, which is about 75% speed. They're kind of just going through things. But when Sam Darnold is your quarterback, it's a lot like teaching your teenager how to drive. Don't go over the speed limit. Make sure you put the blinkers on. Check your rearview mirror. So many things for him to think about. He just can't cut it loose.
And a touchback. Jets will get the ball at the 25. Well, on October 16th, members of the Dolphins, as part of their Football Unites program, joined community leaders and law enforcement to experience the richness and diversity of South Florida. The Unites program is a diversity and inclusive initiative designed to bring people of different cultures and races together. Dolphins do a great job in the community here in South Florida. 1:11 to go. Empty backfield for Darnold. He's 5 of 7 for 44 yards and an interception. And he completes that one to McGuire for a first down. Eli McGuire out of bounds at the 45. A gain of 20 for McGuire in his season debut.
You have a running back who's matched up against a starting corner. That should be a win for the cornerback. The ball's thrown right on target. Get the tackle missed at the end of the play. Out of bounds, stop the clock. So all the things that you wouldn't want to happen when you have your corner out there happen. And look at the drive so far, but this is a nice first step for the Jets in this drive.
Ball's at the 45-yard line. Darnold over the middle, caught a 9-yard gain. He goes to his tight end Herndon. And now Darnold will race the Jets up to the line of scrimmage, trying to preserve those 2 timeouts. 2nd down and 1. Darnold fires, first down to Kearse. And Kearse dives up to the 38. And the Jets call timeout. They'll have 1 left with 40 seconds remaining.
And you had an option there. You could go timeout or you could run up and clock the ball, which takes about 6 or 7 seconds. They elect to use a timeout so they get the full complement of plays. And also you kind of slow it down for your young quarterback. You let them take a breath, don't get too excited, and you get to talk it through where you want them to go with the football.
This year, the Jets coming into the game had only run 20 plays out of the no huddle, 3rd fewest in the NFL. And we asked Jeremy Bates last night, we haven't seen Darnold really run the 2-minute offense that much this year. How does he do in practice? What have you seen from him in the limited times in games? And he said, I really like Sam in these spots. There's not a lot of wasted time when Sam runs the 2-minute offense. And so far, so good on this drive. 1 timeout to go. Darnold flushed out on the move, throws, and incomplete. Was trying to squeeze it into his tight end, Jordan Leggett. Cameron Malveaux applying the pressure on Darnold.
That's where you realize why you drafted him as early as you drafted him. On the run, moving to his right, throws the ball 35 yards down the field. That is only about 10 feet off the ground. And it's 10 feet off the ground when it leaves his hand, 10 feet off the ground when it gets there. There's that arm strength that's undisputable.
Jason Myers, the kicker, loosening up on the Jets sideline. He's made 2 55-yard field goals this year. That's his season long. Darnold, that pass is broken up. It was Xavier Howard getting a hand on that. It's 3rd and 10.
Now you start thinking as a play caller, field goal range. Where do I need to get this next ball down to? You have to believe as your quarterback, number one, you don't take a sack here. You want to get the ball out of your hands, but you also don't want to throw into traffic. That last ball got batted up in the air, and the defenders are closing in on it because you're lining up in a pre-zone look, the depth of these players, and they're just closing in on anything that's in front of them.
Bad snap. Darnold corrals it, in trouble, escapes, throws on the run, and caught by Enunwa. First catch today for Quincy Enunwa. It's a gain of 7. And now Todd Bowles will send out Jason Myers.
And that little lunge at the end that you saw Enunwa do, he had the ball in his left arm, tried to stick it forward so he could get as many yards or that extra yard just to move it closer to field goal range. Really good smarts by the wide receiver. They're getting every last yard you can get because kickers, they want as short a field goal attempt as they can get, and they see if you're doing extra effort to try and move the ball, they feel a lot better when they jog onto the field.
And Miami calls timeout before Myers sets up for the 48-yarder.
Team timeout. Miami, 30-second timeout.
Going back to that 3rd down play, you saw the bad snap by Spencer Long, the Jets center. He continues to play with a dislocated middle finger on his snapping hand. You saw it was an issue a couple of weeks ago. He did not play last week, but back in the lineup today. It was a good job by Darnold to handle that bad snap. We asked Darnold about it last night. He said we really didn't have any issues in practice this week. He thought that Long was headed in the right direction, but that time it was not a good snap.
When you've got a defensive tackle over your nose, it's a little harder to make that long snap if you've got a finger that's not cooperating.
Myers has made 11 consecutive field goals. And the streak continues. Myers drills it, and the Jets are on the board with 20 seconds to go in the second quarter.
You know, you watch these kicks and you get that slight draw. It's outside the goalpost and then it curves back in. It's a thing of beauty when it works.
That was his 19th made field goal of the year, the most in the NFL. He's been a real nice addition. After he was cut by Seattle on August 20th, the Jets scooped him up, and he's only missed one field goal and one extra point since joining New York.
It is a rarity when we do games and you're doing your research on the kicker, for a kicker to have been with one team and to have been there 5 or 6 years from the start of his career. Normally it's 1 or 2 years, there's a little bit of a hiccup, you move on to the next team. And these kickers, they short fuses that the head coaches have when they don't perform well when they're young.
Keep in mind the Jets get the football first to start the second half. Adam Gase elected to receive, which is something you don't really see very often, especially in Gase's history. He's deferred the majority of the time. And a touchback for Myers. Oh no, they're going to take it out. How about this? Sonoris Perry from way in the back of his end zone. I guess why not? Now you can just take a knee.
Yeah, they figured they had one play. That was it. Kickoff return.
Both the return men were at the very back of the end zone.
I thought they were getting ready to go to the locker room.
They were going to go Gatorade. Now you'd expect Miami just to take a knee with 15 seconds to go and the ball at their own 15-yard line. This year, when leading at the half, Miami is 3-1. And under Adam Gase, when they have a halftime lead, they are 12-1. Their only halftime loss under Adam Gase was this year, week 5 in Cincinnati. Jets get the kickoff to start the second half. Miami with a 6-3 halftime lead. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon. And a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. The Jets will receive the second half kickoff. They trail the Dolphins 6-3, moments away from the start of the third quarter. Time now for the Downey unstoppable moment. And in that first half, Sam Darnold intercepted by Kiko Alonso, 11th interception of the year for Sam Darnold. Back in the booth with the Hall of Famer James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalon. And if you like punting, then you loved that first half, a combined 8 punts in the first half. How do these offenses get going in the second?
You know, you've gone in at halftime, you've sat in your little groups, the running backs, the receivers, the tight end, the offensive line, and they've all tried to figure out exactly what they need to do. And I think they walked to the door and they said, I think it's you. I think it's you. So it's a question mark. And for the play callers, it's tough because nothing really stuck in the first half that they want to go to in the second half.
Here's a look at the first half numbers. Not pretty on the offensive side of the football. 116 yards for the Jets, 134 for the Dolphins. And you see the time of possession heavily in favor of Miami as well.
That one turnover that was created were points. So you get those points on the scoreboard. Enunwa and Anderson, both kind of question mark coming into the week. They practice on Friday, but you haven't seen them really thoroughly involved in the game plan so far. But you've got to convert first down so you can get to some of the passes that you have dialed up for these two receivers.
Jets only had 37 yards rushing in that first half. Continues to be a problem for the offense. We told you early in that first quarter that Jeremy Bates wanted the play action to be a big part of the Jets' offensive attack today, but with the lack of a threat in the run game, the play action has not gotten going. It's a touchback. Roberts takes a knee. And out comes Darnold to start this drive at the 25. 9 of 13 in the first half, 89 yards, and the interception.
just like coordinators like to script the first 15 or 20 plays to start the first half, they've gone into halftime and they have about 5 or 6 plays that they've looked at. Jeremy Bates has, and he's talked to the running back coach. He says, give me your best run. He's talked to the wide receiver coach, give me your best couple of passes. So they're going to come out with some things that they think are going to work early in this third quarter.
4 3-and-outs in the first half of the Jets. See if they can get it going here to start the third quarter with Crowell on the ground, and Crowell across the 30 for a gain of 7 yards.
Good, positive, downhill run. No fuss, no fancy wrinkles. You have an extra 2 tight ends on that side. You just go straight at the Dolphins. The Dolphins have pass rushing defensive ends in Quinn and Cameron Wake. They're going to charge up the field. Burke, their defensive coordinator, wants them to squeeze down a little more to help stop that run.
Back to Crowell on second down, lunges ahead for a Jets first. Jerome Baker on the tackle. We told you early in the game that Minkah Fitzpatrick was going to play a lot more today. The first round pick out of Alabama, number 11 overall. It seems like, James, that his increased playing time has come at the cost of Rashad Jones, a 2-time Pro Bowler who has not played a lot in the first half. He's not out there right now to start the second half.
And in the first half, Minkah Fitzpatrick was outside. He was playing corner. In this half so far, he's inside at the safety position. So he's in deep center field right now. And then you have McDonald, who's back there paired with him at safety.
And Jones doesn't even have a helmet on. We did call the Dolphins. They said it's not an injury. So Jones just not playing, and now a flag. And it's going to go against the Jets.
I think we might have gotten a timeout before the play was snapped.
First team timeout, Jets.
So before
there's no foul on the play.
Before the delay of game, the Jets get the timeout in. 13:39 to go, third quarter. Darnold and the Jets trail by 3. So just 1:21 into the second half, the Jets have to use a timeout. See if that comes back to hurt them later in the game. 2 timeouts the rest of the half with Darnold under center on 1st and 10. It's Crowell. And Crowell gets a couple of yards. Take a look when Darnold went over to the sideline after that timeout. See, he wasn't too happy about that. He pointed to his chest, that's my bad. They don't want to use a timeout that early in that situation. Second down and 7 for the Jets.
That's the open side defensive end. They're really trying to crash this thing down.
Darnold looking left now. Finds an open Robbie Anderson for a first down into Miami territory. Tackled by Howard at the 45-yard line. A gain of 18 for Anderson.
Nice job. We talked about the offensive line picking up the pass rush, but it's just a simple zone concept with a little short hook pattern, flat pattern going outside, and your quarterback having the presence to know before the ball's even snapped. Zone coverage, I know where I'm going with it.
A homecoming for Anderson, a Fort Lauderdale native, attended South Plantation High School. Crowell trying the right side, following Tomlinson, and Crowell with some hard running for the Jets. Raekwon McMillan on the stop, but a hard-earned 4 for Isaiah Crowell.
That's just a nice finish to the run because you're contacted at or around the line of scrimmage, and you have enough momentum, and you get those shoulders square when you get up the field. And like I said, at the end of that run, positive extra yard and a half out of it.
You referenced the 219 rushing yards against Denver. He hasn't done anything in the 3 games since, averaging just 2.5 yards per carry over the last 3 games. It's Eli McGuire in there, and he is going down. It's McMillan again, the second-year man out of Ohio State, and a loss of 2 for McGuire.
You just don't have the threat of all the downfield elements, so you've got the line stacked. You have linebackers up there shooting the gaps. You hear about blitzes when you're trying to stop the pass, but you also have run blitzes where you're up in the gaps. You're not firing off at the quarterback who's 8 yards deep in his pass drop. You're just trying to beat them in the gaps, realizing that there's probably a run call.
The Jets yet to convert a third down today. They're 0 for 5. They've averaged third and 8.8, and they've got a third and 8. Pressure coming from Wake. Darnold hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Cameron Wake came around fast off the edge, and out comes the punter, Lachlan Edwards.
See Matt Burke doing some high-fiving at the end. McLean down kind of.
Wake won his matchup with Brandon Shell. And you're right, Bobby McCain is still hunched over on the field in need of assistance.
But he was the one on coverage. He popped up off the ground. And
Dolphins are thin at cornerback. Their second-year corner, Cordray Tankersley, tore his ACL in practice on Thursday. He's out for the year, so it's not a spot they have a lot of depth right now. And they've counted on McCain all year and today to be a big part of their defense, and he is going to come off.
you've got to kind of juggle a couple of guys. If Rashad Jones is injured and you have Minkah Fitzpatrick playing at safety as opposed to corner where he started, so kind of juggle a little bit.
Danny Amendola is back deep for the Dolphins on this punt. Punt number 5 for Edwards. And a fair catch by Amendola at his own 7-yard line. Dolphins will be backed up to begin this drive. They still have a 3-point lead on the rival Jets.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dell and the XPS 13 with Dell Cinema. USAA, official NFL salute to service partner. And by Land Rover, above and beyond.
Gorgeous day in South Florida. The Dolphins have a 6-3 lead on the Jets. And for Miami, right tackle Juwan James questionable to return with a knee injury, so Zach Stirrup remains in the game at right tackle. Worst starting field position today for Miami. And on first down, it's Gore. And he's able to get a couple of extra before Avery Williamson wraps him up. First half possessions for the Dolphins, 4 punts, 2 field goals, and then they took a knee.
It's a lot like both these teams on offense have been kind of stalled in traffic a little bit, and you're waiting for the big play to happen.
Jets actually have more yards today than the Dolphins do. As Gore tackled again by Williamson. We should point out and give a huge tip of the cap to the grounds crew here at Hard Rock Stadium. There was so much pregame talk about the field. They worked overnight on it after the college game last night between Miami and Duke, played in the rain, resodded some areas. We've seen maybe 1 or 2 guys slip, but it hasn't been a factor at all. And now Miami faced with 3rd and 2. They keep Gore in on 3rd down.
Hey, sold! 58 sold! 58 sold!
Amendola, your slot receiver, matched up against Buster Screen.
Osweiler looking the other way, and it's a first down completion to Kenny Stills. His first catch today, and it's a gain of 19.
That was such a fastball. Claiborne, who's in position to make this play. He turns his head, he looks at the ball, and the ball zips right by him. Stills does a great job catching that ball, getting up the field afterwards. When they're that close to you, you kind of know, well, I haven't gotten the separation that I'd like, but that ball was such an on-target throw, it didn't matter.
Claiborne, a team-high 9 passes defense, but he could not get a hand on that one.
Is Urlacher out there?
I don't know. We've heard that a lot today. Osweiler checks it down, and Balaj is tripped up by Adams. Meanwhile, in that previous play, Frank Gore just passed Barry Sanders for 6th in NFL history for most yards from scrimmage, 18,191. Jerry Rice had topped that list, but we met with Frank Gore on Friday. He said, all these records are breaking. He says, I don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
But it is special to me because coming out of college, everyone thought I wouldn't last. All my injuries. Now I'm playing at the age of 35 and I'm going to carry that time. And he said, Gore said that a lot of guys go easy on Mondays, and you would think maybe a 35-year-old would do that. But he likes to work out
just
on
the opposite.
Mondays. He's the opposite of that. And that way he doesn't feel as sore for Wednesday practice.
And I think it's just a way of you push yourself a little harder than everybody else is willing to, and that's why you get such great results.
He said, I'm out to prove that age doesn't matter. If you train right, eat right, you're going to play right. And he has. Now 6th all-time in scrimmage yards. On 3rd and 1, Osweiler wrapped up, and Jenkins does it again. His 2nd sack of the day. Came into the day with 2.5 sacks on the year. He's got 2 here in the 3rd quarter. Still 7 minutes to go.
As a play caller, you're trying to protect your tackle with another player right here. You have to knock him back into him. So if you don't do that as a defender and you just give him the free edge, that's not a great matchup for your backup tackle against an elite pass rusher.
Ja'Wuan James still out with the knee injury. It was Jenkins who beat Stirrup on that sack. A loss of 9. Play clock expires. Nobody sees it. Now they do. That should be a delay of game. And now from the back, they have the flag down.
Delay of the game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
There's Darren Rizzi, the Dolphins special teams coach, also the assistant head coach. You go back to that Thursday night game against the Texans. The Dolphins tried a surprise onside kick in the 3rd quarter, down by 8. Houston recovered, went and scored a touchdown. Rizzi said that the onside kick for Miami hit the wire of the sky cam, and nobody noticed it. He said when his players came off the field, they said, Coach, something weird happened on that kick. A play later, they noticed it on the replay, but they didn't get to see it in time, could not challenge, and Houston went on to score a touchdown. There's Roberts, and he's tackled at the 20. Brock Osweiler a little frustrated after that sack on 3rd down. His team still leads by 3. Here's Miami head coach Adam Gase sitting on the bench. He's been there this entire timeout by himself, just trying to figure out something that's going to work offensively. His team had to punt away for the 5th time today.
He tried to solicit suggestions for a couple plays to run, and nobody came to his rescue. So it is tough because you had a game plan, you went in at halftime, you thought a couple of things might work, and you're back on the sideline.
For the Jets, 5th drive today, starting at or inside their own 20-yard line. Field position's been an issue. Darnold looking to throw on 1st down. Taking a deep shot for Kearse, and it's nearly intercepted. Xavier Howard had a hand on it, but could not hold on. You like the Jets taking a shot there, James?
The Jets, like you say, took their shot, had 2 receivers on corner routes, one deep, one short. He threw it in between the 2 and almost hit the Dolphin defender right smack dab in the hands.
Jets offense has been grounded the entire day, but the last 2 drives you've seen a little bit of momentum. See if they can get something going here with 6:23 to go. In the 3rd quarter, Crowell hit hard. And it brings up 3rd down. The day for Sam Darnold, 10 of 16, 106 yards and the interception.
And it's really reflective of what's on the scoreboard in a 6-3 game. You know there aren't going to be a lot of highlights. There are going to be some times when he has to eat the ball, and there have been a few passes completed here and there, but there just hasn't been that ability to sustain a drive and get the ball down the field.
Jets have not converted a 3rd down today. They're 0 for 6. And it's 3rd down and 9 from the 20. Darnold in trouble. On the move, rolling right, chased by Branch, and Darnold just throws it away. Andre Branch with great pursuit, and the coverage downfield was very good for the Miami secondary.
The coverage always goes hand in hand with a little bit of pressure up front. See, Jermaine Kearse thinks he's open, but Darnold is having to be forced out of the pocket, so his eyes can't stay down the field. He's got to scramble. You see some guys trying to react to the scramble drill, but no chance.
That's the 5th 3-and-out today for the Jets offense.
If you keep punting to Jakeem Grant, something bad's going to happen during the course of the game.
Already has a punt return touchdown this year. Grant comes up to his own 35. He's tackled at the 41-yard line. 5:19 to go, third quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AARP. Take on today with AARP, real possibilities. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by Goodyear. With our producer Jason Ross, our director Andy Goldberg, James Lofton, our entire crew, I'm Andrew Catalan. We thank you for joining us for Week 9 of the NFL on CBS. And Darnold and the Jets trail the Dolphins by 3. We've had 11 punts in the game and a total of 13 first downs. It's Gill, and he runs right into Nathan Shepard. Third-round pick out of Fort Hays State. No gain on the play, and it's 2nd and 10. Both these teams have lost 2 games in a row. And there's Ryan Tannehill, who's missing his 4th straight game with a right shoulder injury. Still not able to put a lot of velocity on his throws. And Osweiler trying to run with the opportunity. Back to Gore. Not much there. Leonard Williams with another nice stop for a gain of 1. It's 3rd and long. So this is the 41st game for Adam Gase as a head coach, and his 24th without Ryan Tannehill, who missed all of last year with an ACL injury. Last year they had Jay Cutler, and this year it's Brock Osweiler.
Urlacher. You're good. 180.
3rd and 9. Pressure coming. Osweiler is sacked. And it's Jeremiah Atauchu. His 2nd sack of the season. A loss of 8, and out comes Matt Hawk.
Atauchu one-on-one against your backup right tackle. You see the kick step, you see the hands, but it's just about the coverage, because even though that's a sack by the defensive end, the great pass rusher, the coverage on the back end is really what cements it.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, though, really missing their starting right tackle, Jawan James, as Sturrow gets speed again. And here's Roberts on the return of the Hawk punt. Roberts is tackled at the 15-yard line. Saturday, the SEC on CBS features a doubleheader. First, Ole Miss takes on Texas A&M. And then one of the SEC's top defenses, Mississippi State, looks to slow down the nation's top offense, Alabama. Good luck after what we saw last night. Alabama rolling up LSU. Once again, Jets backed up to start a drive. It's been a big theme today. They've certainly lost the battle of field position, among other things. 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line.
Red 80. Reset.
Crowell. It's away from one, reversing field, has a blocker in front. Darnold joining, and Darnold's going to stay out of the way, but what a run by Crowell. A gain of 12 for Crowell after what looked like to be a loss in the backfield. And I think Sam Darnold making a great play right there, James. He had eyes of maybe throwing a block and then said, I better not do that.
Well, part of being a blocker is just being kind of a speed bump that people have to slow down for or go around. And that's the case for Darnold. He decided not to be really part of the action, but just a little bit of an impediment for the defender.
So big play for the Jets.
Ready?
They have it 1st and 10 at the 30. Back to Crowell right up the middle this time, and he gets 3 yards. Well, the Dolphins defense has just been getting crushed of late, but not the case today. They have made significant improvements against this Jets offense.
You know, they brought in 2 veteran kind of run stuffers. Ziggy Hood, number 97, who's on the sideline right now, and Sylvester Williams, who's on the field. And both those guys are veteran guys with Super Bowl experience. And they came in on Wednesday, and they said they were ready to work, ready to be Mr. Blue Collar. So that has been a big help for the Dolphins defense right in the middle.
Empty backfield on 2nd and 8. Darnold on a slant, almost intercepted. He overthrew McGuire, and Torrey McTyer had it right in his arms, and he dropped it.
You're playing zone coverage. You're kind of watching what's unfolding in front of you, and you don't expect the ball to be in your lap. The receiver dives out for it, so you see it go through his hands, and then you're thinking, I could have had it. I could have been in the end zone. I could have been the star. I could have been the guy they were asking to come on all the TV shows after the game was over.
That was another questionable snap by Spencer Long. We told you the center for the Jets, a dislocated middle finger, and the shotgun snaps still an issue.
Open edge pressure right here.
Low snap that time. Darnold fields it, but he's tackled for a sack. A flag is down, but Andre Branch with the sack. And again, that was a low snap by Long. Darnold lost his helmet on that play.
Didn't seem like it was early movement, but its flag is right along the line of scrimmage.
Jets are indicating it's against Miami.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 50, defense, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
A big penalty on Andre Branch. Wipes out the sack and gives the Jets a 1st down.
In a game that has been so close, you are always looking for those turning points, and you can see Darnold's helmet get ripped off, and it's an accurate call right there in the pocket. And it's unnecessary because there's a lot of other guys coming who are going to clean up this sack even if he doesn't get there.
And you saw that snap, James, barely got off the ground. They continue to put Darnold in shotgun. You wonder if they adjust that plan with the way Long has been snapping. And as I say that, Darnold's in the shotgun. Final 90 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Darnold has time, throws it to McGuire, trying to get away, and he can't, and now a flag comes in. Raekwon McMillan on the tackle. Did he get some of the face mask?
It looked like he tackled him around the helmet, yeah.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 52, defense, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
It's been the best Jets offense today, the face masks.
Yeah, he might have needed that to make the tackle, because if he doesn't get that, I think he's going to spin out of that and run down the field for even more than 15 yards.
So 2 critical penalties against Miami. And the Jets now have the ball at the Dolphins' 37-yard line.
You'd be tempted, if you're the defensive coordinator, to try and come with some secondary pressure here.
McGuire, the running back.
Ready? Reset.
Hand off McGuire. And the Dolphins are able to sniff that one out. Andre Branch on the tackle. Back to New York. NFL Today update with Boomer Esiason.
Hey, Andrew, the Kansas City Chiefs keep on rolling. This is their 2nd touchdown of the 2nd half. It's Kareem Hunt. He goes around the corner. That's his 3rd touchdown of the day. They take the lead 34-15 over the Browns. Back to you guys down in Miami.
All right, Boomer, moving closer to that showdown coming up later this month between
Andrew,
the Chiefs and Rams.
What is that when they run into the end zone with the ball? We haven't seen any of that here today.
No, we have not. It's 2nd and 15. Crowell back in at running back. He's open on the check down. Darnold gets it to him, and Crowell able to stay in bounds, and they rule him out at the 30-yard line. Minkah Fitzpatrick forces him out.
Got a lot of that back because it's an accurate throw on that swing pass. Crowell doesn't have to break stride. He catches it with some speed, makes one guy miss, big gain.
That's the end of the third quarter. We'll return to Miami after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53. Start of the fourth quarter in Miami. Dolphins 6, Jets 3 with the Hall of Famer James Lofton. I'm Andrew Catalon. On this drive, the Jets have 22 yards of offense, but 30 yards in Miami face masks. And New York faced with a 3rd down and 4 here, James.
Because they would have been off the field if it had not been for the face mask against Darnold. Got to watch Eli McGuire in the backfield, number 25, critical in the protection, and you won't love to get him out in the pass route.
They hand it off to McGuire up the middle, and he's got the first down. That's the first 3rd down conversion today for the Jets. They had started 0 for 7.
Darnold does a great job because he shifts them from right to left. You see the kind of the cross blocking action up front. Get that ball in the backfield, and you just read with your eyes, slow to the hole, and then burst right through it.
We asked Jeremy Bates last night, how are you going to use McGuire now that he's back with Trenton Cannon, who's been coming on? He goes, we'll have a good balance. Cannon doesn't have a touch today. It's been McGuire, and he's been a nice little spark when he comes in for Crowell. McGuire is still in there. And he takes the ball to the 20-yard line. Robert Quinn on the tackle after a gain of 3. Bates in his first year as offensive coordinator. He was the Jets quarterback coach a year ago. McGuire, 6 carries, 23 yards. Also has 2 catches for 22 yards.
Don't forget about that roommate connection. Chris Herndon, number 89, 3 touchdowns so far. Lined up right there.
Second and 7. Wake is coming, and Wake's got him. Second sack of the game for Cameron Wake. He had 1 sack the whole season coming into the day.
And that is an instantaneous sack. Darnold catches that ball in the shotgun, drops his back foot, looks to the left, and Cameron Wake is right there. You can see Cameron Wake trying to come in to strip the ball out of his hands because he's thinking sack fumble.
A good job by Darnold actually to hold on to that football, as Wake is known for strip sacks over the years. And this is his second of the day, and now 3rd and 14 for the Jets.
This time you have the extra blocker over there on that side to kind of slow Wake down a little bit.
I don't think they got it off. That should be a delay of game against the Jets, and it is. Robert Quinn having a few words with Kelvin Beachum.
Delay of the game, number 14, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And there's still some words being exchanged out there on the field.
In addition to that, you are backing yourself up to that edge of field goal range where you're going to kick a 50-yarder if you don't get any yardage from here.
There's another bad snap by Spencer Long, but the play does not count. It's 3rd and 19 with the ball now at the 32-yard line. So from here, a 50-yard field goal attempt for Jason Myers. Enunwa goes in motion. Just 1 catch today for Quincy Enunwa. Darnold to Kearse, he dropped it. Incomplete, and now 4th and 19. And because of those penalties, it's going to be a longer try for Myers.
You know, you're trying to get that little quick screen right there with the 2 blockers in front. Ball not thrown on the right shoulder, receiver not in the correct spot. That play just looks so rushed from start to finish, didn't produce anything.
Myers is 2 for 2 on field goal attempts from 50 yards or longer this year. This one is from exactly 50 to tie the game at 6. And this one is no good, way out to the right. You think about the delay of game, 5 yards right there. Myers not even close. And the Jets still stuck on 3 Just the second field goal miss of the season for Jets kicker Jason Myers. Wide right from 50, so the Jets still down by 3, and a good sign there for Miami as their right tackle Jawan James is back into the game. He's been out with a knee injury, and his replacement Zach Stirrup had a tough time. So James returns. 1st and 10 for Osweiler and the Dolphins. Osweiler, nobody home, and he throws it away. Chased by Brandon Copeland.
The dilemma that the Jets are creating for the Dolphins is that they're not giving them enough time to really load up and get one of those deep crosses where you have somebody going at 25 yards, someone deep to the post, because the pressure's been constant. Even on that last play where you're just trying to push the ball about 10 or 12 yards down the field, there's constantly pressure on each one of these quarterbacks, whether it's Darnold for the Jets or Osweiler for the Dolphins.
Lance! Urlacher! Omaha, set!
It's a handoff to Gore. Trying to get around the edge, now cuts it back. And is tackled at the 45-yard line by Williamson. You know, Brock Osweiler was the backup under Peyton Manning in Denver, who's known for the Omaha calls. You heard an Omaha slip in there, but it's been a lot of Urlacher today for Brock Osweiler.
3rd and 5, you're trying to find a way to get a touchdown out of a drive so that you make it a 2-score game. Give yourself that differential here in the early parts of the 4th quarter.
3rd down and 5 from the 45-yard line. Osweiler taking a deep shot for Gesicki, incomplete. And it was Jamal Adams who had the coverage. He continues to be everywhere for the Jets.
Let me think about this matchup. You got Gesicki, who's a big, tall, lanky athlete. You've got Jamal Adams, an all-star at safety. Somebody who's great at the line of scrimmage, great in blitzing, great in coverage. That's not a matchup that I favor. And if it is a throw, you want to make that a jump ball if you're Brock Osweiler, not trying to make a throw where he's going to outrun somebody who he's not faster than.
6 tackles, 1 pass defense, and 1 tackle for a loss for Jamal Adams today. And the Matt Hawk and Lachlan Edwards show continues as Hawk punts for the 7th time. A fair catch by Roberts at the 15. 11:37 to go, 4th quarter. Jets still down by 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. The Smart Cash Card from Capital One. And by KFC's Crispy Kernel Sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
Back in Miami, 11:37 to go, 4th quarter. Jets trail the Dolphins by 3. Jets have started their drive today on average at their own 19-yard line. This one from their own 15 with Crowell. And he gets maybe 2. TJ McDonald on the stop, and it's been a day of issues, miscues, mistakes, whatever you want to say for the Jets. The Darnold interception. The Dolphins defense with a couple of sacks. A drop by Curse, a missed field goal by Myers. It all adds up to 3 points for the Jets.
And with all that said, it's a 3-point game. It's not like they're down 28-10. You know, they're one drive away from taking this ball game over because neither team has really shown that offensive prowess.
2nd down and 9. Bad snap again. Darnold corrals it, and he's picked off. On the return, it's Baker, and Baker scores! That all started with the snap. It was an issue all game. Jets don't make a change at center. Darnold off balance, throws the interception, and Baker with a pick 6.
Darnold, he feels pressure that he felt all day long, and then in addition to the snap being off, you get excited, your footwork is out of balance, you're late on the throw. You wish you could have it back once it comes out of your hand because you know nothing good is going to come from it.
Now, I'm not defending Darnold. That was a pick and not a good throw, but we've seen these bad snaps all game, James. This is not a surprise. He's had to go all over the place to try to get these shotgun snaps. They keep putting Long out there. They keep putting Darnold in the shotgun. This just felt inevitable, and sure enough, it happens.
And when you're having these issues, the one thing that you always hear the center, when you come back to the sideline, says, well, where was it? And he goes, well, it was kind of wide to my right, or was low to my left. It's not like each one has been off in the same spot. So Darnold, you don't know where the snap is going to come. And when you're in the gun, you have to take your eyes off the ball for a second. When it's really off, you take your eyes even off longer, and you don't get to really read the defense the way that you'd like to.
Second interception of the day for Darnold. For Baker, it's his first career interception. And now he's got a touchdown as well, the third-round pick out of Ohio State. And now the crowd back into this one as the Dolphins have a 13-3 lead.
And this score puts pressure on everybody on the team, including the return man, Andre Roberts. I wouldn't be surprised 2-3 yards deep he tries to bring this out.
10 points off turnovers for the Dolphins. And it's a touchback. Well, this season marks the 50th anniversary of the New York Jets Super Bowl III win in Miami, regarded as one of the greatest upsets in NFL history. Joe Namath guaranteeing victory against the Baltimore Colts. Jets won 16-7. Again, Super Bowl 53 on CBS later in February. And before the game, Joe Namath and Dan Marino having a word on the field.
You left out Nat Moore, the wide receiver, right there in the middle.
They always stick up for the wide receivers. Jets keep Spencer Long at center. Darnold, and that pass is caught, and it's Kearse reeling it in for a 9-yard gain.
You've got to be confident in all your teammates. That's why you hear players talk about what a great game professional football is. So everything from the snap to the route to the protection to the quarterback reading it to making the right play call to picking up the blitz, it all has to be on the same page. And when you have something that's a little bit off, like we see in these snaps, it can affect you in a big, big way.
Another bad snap. Darnold hands off to McGuire up the middle for a first down. Eli McGuire has played well in his season debut for the Jets today. That's a gain of 7.
And if the Jets continue to keep the pressure on, it's a little bit of human nature. It's been such a dogfight the whole game. Now you're up by 10 points. And are you slowing down a little bit defensively? What's going on? They're back out on the field. Yeah, they had a big play to end the last drive. You got to get back out there. You got to make another stop against the Jets if you're the Dolphins defense.
Darnold checks down McGuire. He fumbles it, and it's incomplete. He could not hold on. Don't forget, coming up, State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cower have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the State Farm postgame show. Darnold today, 13-24, 128 yards, and the 2 interceptions.
The pre-snap look that Darnold is getting is the 2 safeties back deep. They're then moving. Maybe one guy goes deep, the other might come down, so they're trying to give him some games.
Darnold fires. It's caught by Anderson. And he's tackled immediately by Xavier Howard. It's a gain of 9. It'll be 3rd and 1 for the Jets.
Once again, you see the arm strength of Sam Darnold on the far hash, throwing that ball outside the numbers on the opposite side of the field. He has all of that, but you've got to be able to give him some good, clean looks, good pass protection. He can do the job throwing the football. Just can't put it all on his shoulders, and that's really what they're having to do here. Todd Bowles said, we don't want him to have to throw the ball 50 times a game, but this is kind of like in that range where you're having to throw almost every play to get back into it.
On 3rd and 1, Darnold looking to throw, pressure coming. What a catch! Enunwa with the big grab in the first down. Wow, Quincy Enunwa, a gain of 9.
I talked about his physical presence, not being afraid to come inside, going up, good hands, catching the ball. That helps keep the drive alive, that confidence, because the Jets are also, now that they've crossed midfield, they're in that kind of 4-down territory almost.
At 8:20 to go, down by 2 scores. 1st and 10 from the 42. Bad is loose. Darnold tracks it down and throws it away. Great play by Sam Darnold. Now a flag is down.
But he's outside the tackle box. He threw it past the line of scrimmage. It might be holding on the back end of it, though.
James, what more do the Jets need to see to take Spencer Long out of the game? Well, what am I missing?
Maybe the other guy is not as good as he is.
The other guy,
Yeah.
Jonathan Harrison,
Holding, number 68.
did it last week.
Offense,
Yes.
10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Yeah, we had holding on Beachum as trying to chase the play.
and that's not even close.
Yeah, not even close, and it almost looked like Darnold wasn't ready.
I don't get it. There's Harrison, who played all last week against the Bears. Not as good of a blocker as Spencer Long. I get all that, but the Jets can't even operate their offense with the way Long has been going with these snaps. Following the penalty, it's 1st and 20. Darnold over the middle, caught by Anderson, and tackled at the Miami 48-yard line by T.J. McDonald. 4th catch today for Robbie Anderson. He's got just 32 yards, and Enunwa with 2 catches for 17 yards.
And most of that, Robbie Anderson had 1 at the end of the first half, but it's almost all been in the last couple of drives that they have had to revert to just being in the shotgun, throwing the football.
2nd and 16. Low snap. Darnold feeling the heat. Darnold is sacked. 3rd sack today by the Dolphins defense. Give this one to Akeem Spence.
You have to wonder, years ago when Bill Walsh came in with the West Coast offense, Joe Montana and all those young quarterbacks, they didn't use the shotgun. Everything was from under the center. Can you not run all these plays from under the center, just 5-step or 3-step drop? Yes, shotgun is in vogue everywhere. Everybody does it. But if you're having issues with it like we've seen on almost every other snap, much rather take the snap under the center and have the quarterback drop back.
3rd and 21, play clock at 2. They got to hurry. They do. Darnold screen to Cannon. Cannon with some room to run. And Cannon now inside the 40, and now a big decision for Todd Bowles. Do you go for it on 4th down? Do you try a long field goal?
You're talking 55 yards if it's a field goal attempt. Yes, you need the 2 scores, the 10 points. But your field goal kicker just pushed one really wide to the right. Now you're trotting him out onto the field. So it's a decision that wasn't instantaneous. It took him a couple moments to get ready to do it. Now they've got to give the Dolphins time to trot their substitutes out there, so you can see them holding up the snap as the play clock is still ticking down. And it's a little bit of a rush issue now for your kicker.
Play clock's at 2. A 56-yard attempt. Kick on the way, and this one right down the middle. It is good. So after missing from 50, Myers comes back with a season-long 56-yard field goal. Jets make it a 1-score game. 5:57 to go. Dolphins 13. Jets 6. Sam Darnold loves it on the Jets sideline. 56-yard field goal for Jason Myers. It's a 1-score game with 5:57 to go in the 4th quarter. Todd Bowles and the Jets have 2 timeouts remaining. They had to burn 1 minute and 21 seconds into the 2nd half. Meanwhile, Miami with 3 timeouts remaining. And this will be a touchback. Miami will get the football at the 25. Going back to that field goal, watch the play clock. And that's very close.
Very close.
Gene Steratore, our rules analyst, is back in New York. And Gene, what did you see on that field goal?
So mechanically, what we do on that play, guys, is the back judge, who is one of the 2 officials under the goalpost, He will watch the play clock. That's his job all day. When it hits zero, if it would hit zero, the moment it hits zero, he takes his eyes down to the center. If the ball is snapped right at that time, we leave it alone as a legal snap. So they actually do get a little more than that half second after the clock expires.
Got it. Thank you very much. Gene Steratore back in New York on first down. Osweiler completes it to Danny Amendola. That was easy for me to say.
Well, I like the fact that they come out throwing, and you're not passive, you remain aggressive, and your best chance to kind of throw sometimes is on first down. You spread the defense out a little bit. They're committed to stopping the run. Doesn't happen.
So earlier, the Dolphins were without their right tackle, Juwan James. He's back in, but now Laramie Tunsil has a knee injury, their left tackle, so he is questionable to return. And Zach Stirrup, who had a tough time filling in for James, is playing left tackle. Second down and 1.
And you've got a little extra shade over there on that left side to help him out.
Pass deflected and incomplete. It was Jamal Adams again getting a hand on it. We met with Marcus May, his teammate, last night. We said, what impresses you most about Jamal Adams? He says his motor. He just doesn't stop. You never see him slow down. You never see him take a play off. Adams is quickly turning into a Pro Bowl caliber player for the Jets.
And somehow you have to manufacture a play for Frank Gore to be able to run. You've got a heavy look to the right side with all your extra tight ends. Probably send one in motion to squeeze off the backside.
3rd and 1. Gore. And he's hit and he's brought down for a loss. Frank Gore did not get there. This Jets defense comes up with a big play.
Talked about the blocking to the front side. He tries to run a weak side slant, one-on-one blocking. And Leonard Williams, you've got to be able to deal with him. He was the first penetrator. The rest of the defense followed it up.
Adam Gase has that look of a team that has only put up 34 yards of offense in the second half. 4th and 1, punting. Roberts, the deep man. Fair catch at the 19-yard line. Well, CBS's Super Bowl season continues next Sunday with a doubleheader. Brady drives New England into Tennessee, and then an NFC West showdown when Seattle tries to gain some ground on the division-leading Rams. The day kicks off with the NFL Today at 12 Eastern on CBS. All right, 4:21 to go. The Jets have the ball down 7 at their own 18-yard line. They have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning to work with. And the Jets have made a change at center. Jonathan Harrison is out there at center now for the Jets. A good snap. On first down, Darnold with time. Darnold completes it to Leggett. And Leggett is able to pick up 4 yards on the play. Torrey McTyer with the tackle after a gain of 6. And this is why Spencer Long is out of the game. Again, playing with a dislocated middle finger, but he hasn't even been close on some of these snaps. Jets finally make a change with Harrison, who played all last week against Chicago, coming in at center. Now there's an injured Dolphin down on the field as you see Spencer Long watching from the sideline, and Robert Quinn is still down after that last play, being attended to by the Miami training staff. Quinn in his first year after he was traded by the Rams to the Dolphins in March. Only 1 sack on the season. It's been a quiet year for Robert Quinn.
And he talked about how frustrating that's been for him, because you come to a new team, you kind of assuming that you'll be in a little bit of a leadership role, even with Cameron Wake on the other side, but you really believe that you would be more productive. The two of them, with 153.5 career sacks coming into the day, they have gotten 2 sacks on the outside, but Quinn, you can see him kind of walking a little gingerly off the field. Quinn right there on the bottom. So we'll take a look. He's matched up against Kelvin Beachum. That little pass rush It almost looked like he just stepped in a hole with his right foot there. Turn that right ankle just a little bit. You know, I say just a little bit because it's not my right ankle.
The Jets were able to get 6 yards on that completion to Leggett. Second down. Darnold, quick pass. Caught by Enunwa. He's got the first down and still going. Quincy Enunwa inside the 40 and still turning the legs. Quincy Enunwa, who missed the last 2 games with an ankle injury, comes up with a big play at 23 yards.
When you talk to members of the Jets coaching staff, there is a difference. When you throw him that short little bubble screen and he's running in traffic, there's a toughness and acceleration, a physicality that you don't see from a lot of receivers around the league.
Jets going no huddle, and Kearse had it and lost it. The hit by Alonso broke up that pass.
Each and every play is critical. The Jets trying to get a little momentum. The Dolphins trying to make some plays defensively to get off the field. One of the things that you're looking for that pass rush pressure right up the middle. You want that to come from the tackle area. They've been alternating, got a couple new guys. Sylvester Williams is in right now, along with Akeem Spence. Right in the middle is where you want that pass rush in the rookie's face.
2nd and 10. Darnold, deep shot for Anderson, and it's incomplete. Xavier Howard had the coverage on the speedy Robbie Anderson.
And when you talk about somebody's speed, what speed did he have on Friday? His first day back from practice after having an ankle injury. All of that kind of goes into the factor. It's easy to throw a ball to a guy 8 to 10 yards down the field. Now you move back to that 25 to 30 yards down the field, and it has to be so exact, so precise, that sometimes you don't have the timing when somebody's been out for a couple of weeks.
Jets just 2 for 11 on 3rd downs. Play clock's at 3. Darnold in trouble. Darnold is sacked. Spence again. And now, if you're the Jets, it's 4th and long, but less than 3 minutes to go in the ball game, and he's going to keep the offense on the field.
That's what I call a worker sack. When you get a sack from the defensive tackle position, you don't have the advantage like you do at the end to go around the edge and loop and bend and do all that. You've got to drive straight through that guard, march him back into the quarterback, and you're forcing a 4th down. This is a tough call for Jeremy Bates. You know your quarterback has to hold the ball for a little while longer because you've got 4th and 15 to go. You can't throw a short little 5-yard pass and expect to run after catch to get it.
4th and 15. Wake is coming. Darnold steps up. Picked off. McDonald. And he slides down at the 50. Interception number 3 today for Sam Darnold. And the Dolphins offense is going back out on the field.
I talked about where Darnold needed to throw that ball. He realizes he's got to throw it beyond the sticks. Enunwa was his target, but TJ McDonald is just standing there. He's right at the zone drop area of where they'd have to go to get the first down. So all your eyes are on the quarterback, and then he drills you right in the chest with the football.
Darnold now with 13 interceptions on the season. It might not matter, but TJ McDonald might not want him to slid down there. I mean, the Jets still have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. A field goal would make it a 2-score game.
Exactly. Yeah, you can gain a couple extra yards, but you run the ball and you fumble it, you give it to the other team, it's a first down going the opposite direction.
Point. Very true. 1st and 10 from midfield. Gore, nowhere to go, ran into his own man. And Todd Bowles calls timeout. Jets have 1 remaining and the 2-minute warning. The Dolphins had only 1 interception in their last 3 games, but they've picked off Darnold 3 times today. Don't forget, coming up, bonus coverage here on CBS. Pittsburgh on top of Baltimore 23-16. With 5:23 to go in the 4th quarter. You'll see that when we're done here in Miami.
With the way the game has been played so far on both sides of the ball by each offense, you have to believe if you're Sam Darnold sitting on the bench over there, you're going to get the ball back. You're going to get the ball back right after the 2-minute warning. You get another stop here, call timeout. 2-minute warning. You get the ball back with 1 minute 50 seconds to go, maybe inside your 15-yard line. You've got to get down the field and get a touchdown to tie this ball game up.
2nd and 12. Back to Gore. Gore taken down after maybe gaining a yard. Todd Bowles will not call his final timeout. He'll take it to the 2-minute warning. Big 3rd down coming when we come back to Miami.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, in theaters November 16th. And by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Coming up, State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights all coming up on the State Farm postgame show.
Couple things for Adam Gase here. A run, you try and keep the clock moving. You know they're going to call timeout. A pass, and you attempt to maybe even get the 10 yards to pick up the 1st down.
3rd down and 10. Osweiler, quick pass. And nothing doing there for Amendola. A gain of 1. Todd Bowles calls his final timeout, so the Jets will get the ball back with no timeouts remaining.
I don't want to be the backseat play caller, but if you are going to throw the ball down the field and risk having an incomplete pass where the clock is going to stop, throw the ball 15 yards down the field, not at the line of scrimmage where all they have to do is come up, make the tackle, because you could have run the ball to Frank Gore and probably gotten more yardage there. So I'll just stay in the back seat and I'll let the guys in the front seat do the driving.
Disappointing day for Adam Gase's offense, but credit to the Jets defense.
Yeah.
They did play very well today. And now Gase will need his defense to try to bail him out, as Todd Bowles is hoping Sam Darnold can lead the Jets down the field with 1:56 to go. Hawk punting for the 9th time today. Roberts lets it bounce. It takes a Dolphins hop a little bit backwards, and it's down at the 11-yard line. So the Jets are going to have to go 89 yards with no timeouts. We mentioned this earlier in the game, but coming into the day, the Jets had run the 3rd fewest plays from the no huddle all season. We asked Jeremy Bates about Sam Darnold in the 2-minute drill, since it's something you haven't really seen too much, the no huddle. They did do it earlier in this game for a little bit, but Bates said he has a lot of confidence in Darnold not wasting time, getting the Jets down the field. Here's a big chance for the rookie 21-year-old. No timeouts, 1:46 to go.
And we always talk about using the middle of the field early in a 2-minute drill. Well, remember that last interception was thrown in the middle of the field, so Darnold may be hesitant to try and use the middle of the field.
Darnold steps up, fires. It's caught for a 1st down. The tight end Herndon holds on to the football and tackled at the 32-yard line, a gain of 21.
Darnold did a nice job with the pressure all around him, keeping his eyes down the field, and that ball with a lot of velocity on it to Herndon right down the middle.
Clock continues to tick. Jets cannot stop it. No timeouts left. Darnold screen. McGuire has blockers in front. McGuire across the 40, still going, and McGuire taken down inbounds by TJ McDonald. Big play, but the clock continues to run. A gain of 15.
You've almost got to decide whether or not you'd like to spike the ball here, use up a down, save some time, because right now you've looked, they've used almost 15 extra seconds clock time.
Darnold taking a shot down the sideline, out of bounds. Anderson fell down anyway, and that will stop the clock with 50 seconds to go. Look at the standings in the AFC East. Miami, 2 games behind the Patriots. Jets, 3 behind. First of 3 straight games for the Jets against division opponents. Adam Gase watching. Todd Bowles hoping his 21-year-old rookie can find some magic here late in Miami. Cannon in at running back. Darnold hit as he throws. Kearse was out of bounds when he caught it. Incomplete. And it's 3rd and 10.
You know, you go from what would have been 2nd and 4 to now 3rd and 10. Awareness of where you are on the field. Kearse is looking, he says, how did I make this mistake? I knew I had a stop route near the sideline. You just don't continue to run toward the sideline. You see the exasperation of everybody on the Jet sideline.
Kearse had a drop earlier in the game as well. 3rd down and 10. Darnold fires for Anderson, incomplete. It was Howard coming across and getting a hand on that one. It's 4th and 10.
Having to hold the ball that extra second, you see Howard kind of dropping back. He has deep third. It's kind of like a little bit of an illusion look because you drop the defender in the inside underneath that route in case they run an out route, but they continue up the field trying to put it in a really, really tight window there.
Here's the ball game. 4th down and 10. Darnold flushed out. On the run. Throws it deep in the direction of Kearse, and it's intercepted. Walton Aikens with the interception. The 4th of the day. Thrown by Sam Darnold.
Coverage on the back end. Enough pressure to force Darnold out of the pocket. Can't make a lot of great decisions when you're on the run. Nobody really separated and gave Darnold a clear shot to try and drill the ball in for a 1st down.
Career high 4 interceptions for Darnold. Matt Burke, the defensive coordinator, all pumped up, and now the Dolphins can just take a knee. And that will do it. We update the AFC standings. The Dolphins stop a 2-game losing streak. They go to 5-4 with a trip to Green Bay next week, while the Jets lose their 3rd straight game. They'll host the Buffalo Bills at MetLife Stadium next Sunday. Wasn't pretty for either team offensively, but in the end, the pick 6 by Baker helps lead the Dolphins to a 13-6 victory. For James Lofton, this is Andrew Catalon saying so long from Miami. Now it's time for the State Farm postgame show. After a 13-6 Dolphins win, we send it to James Brown in New York.